Hey guys, welcome to Dragon's Forge. For today's video, we're going to go over these cards that were spoiled from May 6th to May 14th. And we're going to have Nugget help us out this time, seeing as he didn't get to be in the last video. Hey Nugget, are you ready to do this thing?
Aye, sir.
Now before we get started, I want to explain our ranking system with Nugget. So if Nugget gives a card a
Aye, sir.
that means Nugget really likes that card, and we definitely expect to see that card being run. Now, if Nugget gives the card a
maybe, sir,
that means we're not so impressed by the card, and it has a chance to be run, but may or may not. It's kind of up in the air. And then for the last ranking, we're going to have
no, sir.
And this basically means we don't expect this card to be run whatsoever. To start off our spoilers, we had from Dragon Empire, Blaze Maiden Zara and Blaze Maiden Tonya. Blaze Maiden Zara has the ability of Rearguard Circle during your turn if you have Blaze Maiden Ryu or Blaze Maiden Reno on your Vanguard Circle or Rearguard Circle. This unit gets power plus 5k. The problem with this card is it requires that you have either Reno or Ryu on the battlefield, and you're normally only going to have Ryu on your Vanguard Circle, and then Reno you might, but there's generally no advantage except for the grade 2 turn as an attacker that benefits you running her over Velocihazard at this time. Now as for Tonya, it's a little bit more interesting, but we would need to have a major change to the game to make her viable in the current build. So what her ability is when this unit is placed on Rearguard Circle, cost Counterblast 1 and choose one of your grade 0s from the drop zone and call it to Rearguard Circle. Then as well, you have when this unit attacks, Soul Blast 1 and choose one of your grade 0 units, and it gets power plus 5k until the end of the turn. In my opinion, we need to have the sideboard before Tonya will be viable, unless something else does come out. But she would be a viable option for any kind of sideboard against the Imprison deck. So Nugget, what are your thoughts on Zara?
No, sir.
Hey Nugget, what are your thoughts on Tonya?
No, sir.
To complete the first week of spoilers, we ended up getting from Dark States Diabolos Edge Grantory and Diabolos Madonna Viola. Grantory has the ability of active on the Rearguard Circle for the cost of 1 Soul Blast for the turn your opponent cannot intercept, and if you are in Final Rush, this unit gets an additional power plus 5k. In general, Grantory is not too bad, but currently there is also Gyrate, which generally is just better than him overall in my opinion. And then as for Diabolos Madonna Viola, she has the ability of when this unit attacks on the Rearguard Circle, if your Vanguard is Bruce, you can Counterblast 2 to get power plus 10k for the turn. Now this does allow for a potentially very large attacker, but it is at a very high cost of 2 Counterblast, and overall I just don't think it's going to be run. So Nugget, what are your thoughts on Grantory?
Maybe, sir.
And what are your thoughts on Viola?
No, sir.
Now with our second week of spoilers, we opened up with Keter Sanctuary, starting off with the order card Lineup Chosen Knights. So for a Counterblast 1 and a Soul Blast 1, you get to activate the following abilities based on the number of grade 3 units you have. 2 or more, choose one of your units until the end of the turn, it gets power plus 5k. 3 or more, draw 1. 4 or more, choose one of your Vanguards until the end of the turn, it gets drive plus 1. I do think that this card is going to get run. It does a lot for the deck, especially Bastion, considering you are just going to have a ton of grade 3s in Bastion, seeing as the normal build is running somewhere in the neighborhood of about 27, so there's plenty of them in there. It as well gives you the advantage of additional power. It replaces itself with the draw 1, and then it gives you that extra drive check, which gives Bastion that extra chance to pop off that ability to restand. Next up you have Corsis. Corsis has the ability of when this unit is revealed for drive check, you may call it to open Rearguard Circle. If you did, this unit gets boost until the end of the turn. So this gives Bastion another option for a booster in general, but at the same time, I just don't see this card being run, especially over Darkstrain Dragon. Darkstrain Dragon just has a generally easier to use ability and beneficial overall. So in general, I just don't think Corsis is going to have an opportunity to be run. So Nugget, what are your thoughts on Lineup Chosen Knights?
Aye, sir.
And what about Corsis?
No, sir.
Now we move on to Brontgate with Cardinal Noid Plastia with the ability of on the Rearguard Circle when this unit attacks that is boosted by Shadow Army tokens hits, draw a card. Now, this is an extremely simple ability for Brontgate, but at the same time, it's not a bad ability. It does afford a little bit of pressure and also card advantage, but it is a question of whether it will be run. I don't think it's standout enough that it's going to see any overall play. Maybe it might be teched a little bit, but I really just don't see it having play. Then we move off to Whirlpool Robo Ramdrot. It has the ability of continuous rearguard circle. If your order zone has a set order, this unit gets intercept. So this gives additional defensive options to Brontgate, but at the same time, Brontgate is either very reliant on its field being very focused on the game strategy, or it's mostly guarding from hand. So I just don't see this little guy making any kind of impact. So Nugget, what are your thoughts on Plastia?
Maybe, sir.
And what are your thoughts on Ramdrot?
No, sir.
Now we move off to Stoichio with some of the most interesting spoilers that we got for the week, in my opinion, starting with Sylvan Beast Bojarkern. It has the ability of, on rearguard circle, counterblast 1. Until the end of the turn, this unit gets the ability of continuous on the back rearguard circle. When it attacks your opponent's front row in one attack. I think this is a very good ability overall, but the problem is Stoichio has a major resource issue, where if you just don't have that counterblast, there's no way of really getting it anything more unless you either take more damage or heal stuff off. They really need some kind of way to countercharge. So for now, I just don't see Bojarkern being run, but in the future, if they do get a countercharge engine, I definitely could see him being run. Then in the case of the next card, we have Sylvan Beast Crocot with the ability of, when this unit attacks or boosts, you Soul Blast 1, and this card gets power plus 2k for each of your rear guards until the end of the battle. So it has a potential to gain an additional 10,000 power, making it either a 16k attacker or a 16k booster. I think this has a lot of potential to be run. There's a lot more room for Soul Blasting as a resource for the deck right now, especially for something like this. I think if this is going to make its way into the deck, which I do think it will, it's going to replace the Mantis. Now, Nugget, what are your thoughts on Bojarkern?
Maybe, sir.
And what are your thoughts on Crocot?
Aye, sir.
Now we are back to Dark States with Time Gyrate Dragon. With the ability of, when this unit enters a rearguard circle, you can put one card from your hand into Soul and draw a card. This is a very nice little cycling ability that's nice and easy to use with no additional costs involved with it, that allows you to put exactly what you want into the Soul, but at the same time, with what is currently being run in the grade 3 slots or any of the other slots, I don't quite see this guy pushing anyone out at this time. Now, maybe in a future build, he might be a key player in making that all work, especially if there's a high reliance on having certain cards in the Soul. Next up, we have Cyclone Cycler. She has the ability of, when this unit boosts and you have 5 or more cards in your Soul, you can counterblast 1 and put her into the Soul and choose 3 of your units in your front row, and during this turn they each get power plus 5,000. This I do think will be run in Barrow Magnus. There's no reason why I wouldn't see this being run at all. Now, I think what she will end up replacing in that build is going to be the Steam Battler Gun Garam. So I think she's going to be an excellent addition. Now, Nugget, what are your thoughts on Time Gyrate Dragon?
Maybe, sir.
And then what are your thoughts on Cyclone Cycler?
Aye, sir.
To end out the second week of spoilers, we get another round of spoilers for Dragon Empire, and this time it's support for Eugene. So we start off with Drag Ritter Idris, with the ability of, on the rearguard circle, if an opponent's rearguard was retired during this turn, you can counterblast 1 and activate one of the following. During this turn, this unit gets power plus 10,000, or put this unit into the Soul and choose and retire an opponent's grade 2 or higher rear guard. Now for Idris, I think this card is definitely going to be run. I see no reason not to run this. This is the kind of card that Eugene needs badly. So this is an A+ in my book. Next we move off to Drag Ritter Nasir, with the ability of, when this unit intercepts and your opponent have 2 or less rear guards during this battle, this card gets an additional 10,000 guard. Now this card, it's so easily disrupted that I just don't see this being run. It is great to be able to get the additional guarding, but at the same time, all your opponent has to do is just drop an extra card, whether it be a trigger or whatever, to stop you from having that extra guard. It's so easy to stop, yet alone if they don't want to deal with you having the extra guard, they just attack it. But I think that especially as we move through the spoiler season, we're just going to have something that just outright outshines this guy, yet alone the older cards, they already do. So Nugget, what are your thoughts on Idris?
Aye, sir.
And then what are your thoughts on Nasir?
No, sir.
Now this will close out our first and second week of spoilers so far, and it will be very interesting to see how we continue to move forward through this next set, especially with the new card type of encounter cards. In the meantime, if you liked the video, please like, comment, and subscribe, and have a great day.